Yeah, there you are. It looks great.
Perfect. Okay. So firstly, I would like to thank you all for the opportunity to present our research to y'all.
Thank you.
I would like to apologize. My computer camera is broken, so I won't be able to turn it on during the presentation. But first, I would like to introduce y'all to the idea of our research. So in the last semester of college, I took a Brazilian Sign Language class, and this class opened my eyes to a situation of neglect and forgetting a group that has always been present in our society. Consequently, I started applying to this knowledge gained in these classes to various situations in my life, attempting to foster more empathy and advocate for more inclusion in various environments and spaces, including to incorporating it in several other subjects at college. This led me to the media ecology class, where we began complaining from the perspective of these groups, finding it intriguing to apply such knowledge to McLuhan's works. Because since media are considered extensions of the human being, it is crucial to understand how they operate in accordance with human specifications. As these media are not considered neutral in transmitting messages, we believe information faces consequences during transmission. To begin introducing a little bit of McLuhan's work, we see that he argues that each medium of communication possesses unique characteristics, influencing the perception and comprehension of the message. When he discusses the three eras of communication, oral, written, and electric, he distinguishes them as different forms of communication and information transmission. Each era shapes the interaction between medium and message distinctly. In the written era, there's a linear transmission of information in visual space, with one word or line presented at a time. In contrast, the oral and electric eras, associated with acoustic space, involve information reaching from all directions simultaneously. It is crucial to recognize that humans face deficiencies and obstacles and understand the impact of these limitations on both medium and the message.
Technology is responsible for shaping our perception of reality. When everyday mediums project our need for certain physical capabilities, we as a society tend to perpetuate a behavior that devalues those with challenges. In the current digital era, numerous technologies have emerged with the opportunity to better include individuals with various physical, mental, and sensorial capabilities. A significant challenge in the ongoing battle for media inclusion. Pode passar aí, por favor. Okay, thank you. A significant challenge in the ongoing battle for media inclusion stems from the industry itself. Technology is often need to be transformed in products. In many cases, these products are standardized, lacking substantial adaptability to accommodate diverse bodies and needs. This standardization poses a hurdle to achieving widespread inclusivity, as the one-size-fits-all approach falls short of addressing the various requirements of individuals with different capabilities.
So, before we delve into discussing the inclusion of people with disabilities, I would like to examine the concept of disability. So, this definition is articulated in Article 1 of the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, adopted by the UN General Assembly in 2006, stating that a person with disability is someone who has long-term impairments of physical, mental, intellectual, or sensory nature that, in interaction with various barriers, may hinder their full and effective participation in society on an equal basis with others. So these space voids that we're talking about are categorized as barriers, which includes the urban barriers, referring to roads or public or private spaces used collectively. We have the architectural barriers found in public or private buildings. We have the transportation barriers present in transportation systems, the communication and informational barriers that are any obstacle, attitude, or behavior that hinders or prevents the expression or reception of messages and information through communication systems and information technology. The attitudinal barriers are attitudes or behaviors that obstruct or harm the social participation of individuals with disabilities in contrast to others. The technological barriers are those that impede or prevent access to technology for people with disabilities. So I would like to say that in an article titled "Education for Deaf of Deaf People in Times of Pandemic and Their in the Power Relations," we saw how social isolation, economic issues, and most importantly, disabilities have altered the relationship of these individuals with the media. In one case study, a child had an interpreter whose duty is to mediate communication and work in partnership with the teacher, but it lacked with the best financial conditions. The education of deaf individuals in regular schools includes the inclusion of language difference, which, with the shift to virtual classes, was hindered because it was a visual gestural language, considering the challenges also faced by non-Libra users that are like the Brazilian Sign Language, which we were talking about, who need visual cues for lip reading. So it is essential for the teacher to guide students to not turn off their cameras, as is common in online classes, so their expressions, reactions, and movements, they are visible. The student's case also involves a lack of internet access, which deprives them of a visual contact. Even though the assignments are being submitted, proper guidance is needed to understand what is being requested, because there is always something new, a word that needs to be contextualized or shown, as their thinking is based on visual signs. So people possess a range of sensory abilities, recognizing the diversity in how individuals experience the world. These include differences in perceiving the environment through various senses such as visual, hearing, and other sensory capacities. Each person's sensory profile contributes to their unique way of interacting with and understanding the world around them. The challenges in understanding and interaction arise from exploring how sensory differences can create communication barriers. These involve delving into the way these differences impact how individuals engage and interpret information within the social environment. In essence, it highlights the complexities that sensory variations can introduce into social interactions and comprehension. Highlighting the importance of understanding sensory differences in promoting inclusion underscores the recognition that a failure to comprehend these differences can result in the exclusion of individuals with disabilities from society. It emphasizes the need to create an inclusive environment that accommodates diverse sensory needs, ensuring equal opportunities and participation for everyone. In essence, recognizing and addressing sensory diversity is fundamental to building a truly inclusive society. To give you an idea, a study conducted by McKinsey in 2022 highlights the importance of inclusion in these environments. The workforce of Americans with disabilities who wish to work could contribute nearly to $250 billion to the United States gross domestic product by 2040 and increase the global GDP by a total of $400 billion. But, however, achieving this would require making buildings fully accessible, fostering inclusive cultures, and providing workers with disability more flexibility. We brought some examples of devices that are specifically designed and shaped for these groups, aiming to include them in activities and contribute to a better quality of life. Firstly, I would like to mention the app Be My Eyes, that is a Danish application designed to assist blind and visually impaired individuals in recognizing objects and dealing with everyday situations. An online community of sighted volunteers receives randomly submitted photos or videos from affected individuals and provides assistance through a live chat. Secondly, we have the finger reader, which is a device that is a large ring that fits on a finger and incorporates a front-facing camera, scanning the text the finger is pointing to. The smart software powering the device recognizes the line of the text under the finger and it reads only that line. It serves as a tool for visually impaired individuals who need help accessing printed text and also functions as an aid for language translation. And finally, there is the Green Inclusive, the world's first inclusive deodorant developed for people with visual and upper extremity impairments. Co-created by an inclusive team of design experts, including occupational therapists, engineers, and individuals living with the disabilities worldwide.
In the context of inclusive approaches in the medium, it is important to highlight the distinction between a medium that aims to adapt an already existing environment, thus enabling access for those with difficulties, and mediums that are shaped with the perspective of inclusion from their conception. Both approaches have the same goal, to better include the participation of human beings in all their different capabilities. However, even with the importance of adaptive medium, they still address barriers and challenges that have emerged due to design choices made without considering the needs of all users. We as a society must always seek to understand the barriers that our day-to-day medium perpetuates, and how can we shape them to better include the different ways of being human. We can have a wheelchair platform that allows those with motor disabilities to access places only available with stairs. But to better include all different human capabilities, the access ramp is a much accessible and inclusive solution. Um, uh, can you pass, please? Like,
Just a second. Wait. Okay.
okay. So understanding the need to tailor our environment to more inclusive without need to. I'm sorry. Understanding the need to tailor our environments to be more inclusive without the need for adaptations, the American architect Ron Mace introduced the concept of universal design in the 1980s. It deals with the perception of the projects and environments we design and inhabit, considering the possibility of use by different user profiles, from children to elderly, including those with disabilities or temporary limitations, as well as language and communication barriers. The goal here is to eliminate barriers and promote inclusion, ensuring that everyone can fully participate in society. A technology that follows this design approach must always seek to be aligned with these 7 principles here. This image is taken by the own universal design site and states that a universal design approach must seek to be of equitable use, to be useful and marketable to people of all abilities. It must have flexibility in use. It must be simple and intuitive, thus diminishing the language barriers. It must be perceptible information to clearly communicate regardless of sensory abilities or ambient conditions. It must be tolerant to errors, minimizing hazards and consequences from accidents or misuse. It must be of low physical effort and must consider size and space for for approach and use. So it must consider all types of human sizes, postures, and mobility. So that's our model here, and we want to thank you for our job. For Fala uma coisa, Bárbara.
Thank you.
That's it.
We have so much to talk about. This is great. Let me move this.
And finally, I get to Barbára and Johnny. Wow. So Thomas Friedman wrote a book, I don't know, 2 decades ago, that really is the metaphor for the entire enterprise that we refer to as cultural studies and critical cultural studies. He entitled his book, "The World is Flat." And what I find interesting and essential in the work that you're doing is the question, can our technologies, can our media, can our digital media and technologies specifically, do they help us to make the world flat? Or is that a human enterprise before and above media? I'm looking at my notes really quickly. I lost it. Well, when you talked about attitudinal barriers, right? I sort of pulled that one out of the list, and I thought, do human attitudes about the difference between diversity and inclusion is important to me. I tend to prefer the word inclusion to think about all of it, but do human attitudes toward inclusion matter first, and then we're trying to solve the problems of these attitudinal differences and attitudinal problems through technology and through media. And, is that sort of a second level solution, and we're not dealing with the first one, the basic one first?
Attitudes we can choose to adopt, we can change the world for others. So we thought, why not incorporate these issues on our daily lives, even if we do not personally face these problems ourselves? When we did this project, we aimed to illustrate how our learning and teaching are standardized, and we are not thought to include these groups in various aspects of our lives. From public spaces that are not accessible to these individuals in our society, to ingrained prejudices against these groups, which have existed since time immemorial. By incorporating this perspective into various subjects, topics, or places, we can open our eyes for these issues, the neglect these people has all that it has always happened. And once you start to see that in our society, you can't unsee it anymore. It's completely life-changing. You see that basic stuff from your day is not the same for everyone. So really, we have to change our attitude to perceive the world so we can make a world more inclusive for these people. I think Johnny would like to say something, but if you have other questions, please let us know.
Okay. First of all, I think it was very nice, this gathering. I had a lot of fun listening to everyone speak. And to answer Tom's question, I'm thinking here, it takes a lot of time to process and translate all of my thoughts to English and to be able to rightfully present them to you. But in a quick way of thinking here, I think that human behavior towards deficiency is responsible to making the earth flat, as you say, Tom. We shape our means, our medium, and they shape us, like John Colkin said in the recitation. So I think it's time for us, before we keep advancing and advancing in this never-ending cycle of getting bigger and bigger and bigger with our technology, we first need to take a step back and look behind us and see the conception of all those mediums, what is missing, what's the barriers that they're producing, and how can they affect being a human being to be able to function in all their capabilities. Was I clear? Could you understand what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, I guess I just want to say in the end, thank you both for doing this kind of important human work. We might not all have the same focus, but if you're pointing us toward internalizing what it is you're teaching us and telling us about, that's the importance of the project. So thank you.